They build up their walls so high and so strong, but the truth's gonna break through before too long. Every single day, the same damn old game, pointing all the fingers, nobody takes the blame. This pressure's building, it's starting to crack. Ain't no turning back now, ain't no holding back. I'm about to say it, yeah, I'm about to scream. Tired of the fake smiles, living in a dream. The real life's bleeding out in the cold. Gotta break the mold, gotta let it unfold. I'm about to say it, every single word. The uncomfortable truth finally gonna be heard. I'm gonna say it.
Good morning and welcome to hashtag I'm Gonna Say It. All things said in today's show are alleged and for education and entertainment purposes only. If you are below the age of 18, we request you leave the live now. Enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another broadcast of hashtag I'm Gonna Say It. Today is a little different. In fact, today is going to be very different. It's going to be very different. This morning, while I was taking my wife to work and we were dropping our little girl off at school, I was just listening to some videos as I was driving. My wife was tired, so she was taking a nap. But I was just listening, and I came across a couple of videos that Grand rising to you, Rochelle. How are you doing, bestie? Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You all make sure when you come in, please send a heart me. That's your check-in. It actually helps you all. And you can also, after you send the heart me, you can click on this orange heart above me and claim your points. But just remember, whenever you go to someone's live, always send them a heart me. That counts as a check-in for you, and it actually is beneficial to you all. And make sure you claim your points. And so as I was listening to these videos, um, it was hard. It was hard. Now, if you've been rocking with us for a minute now, we talk about celebrity things, and sometimes we talk about political things as well. And I mean, and at the end of the show today, we'll cover that some celebrity stuff for an incident in the closing segment. But bear with me, because when I was listening to these videos, it was rough for me. It got me in my feelings, because you see, in addition to talking about celebrity stuff and some political things and stuff like that, we also like to pride ourselves on doing uh, advocacy work as well. Like we definitely want to bring awareness to SA and DV. In fact, we've done a show on that before, and we had some brave guests, brave survivors that came on and as guests and gave us their stories. But the thing about it is, there's this one particular SA situation that goes on, right? And thank you for the heart me. I appreciate that. Neosha, thank you. Thank you. Make sure you claim your points, love. Uh, it's really heavy. It's really heavy. And the thing about it, on this platform, when you talk about it, or when you bring up a certain person who is in office now, you tend to get flagged or get a strike or whatever it may be, which, it happened on my backup page and whatnot. But I don't care about that. I really don't. What I care about is Natty, welcome in, bestie. What I care about is us being a voice, being supportive of victims that have encountered those type of heinous situations, right? And so that's what we're going to do here. Now, when it comes to a person that is in office right now, and I'm actually going to blame myself. I tend to always say that he is in the files, but some he hasn't really been named per se. And so, we had someone that was in one of our previous broadcasts, and they were saying, well, they all said he didn't do anything, and to a degree, that's true. They did not say he did, and in fact, in the second segment, because I wasn't going to play that particular video, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play it. Like I said, we're preparing. I've talked to my moderator and one of my moderators, and I let them know, look, we may not make it through the full broadcast, but however, the Bible told us to expose evil, and that's what we plan on doing here. But now, the person that's, in office, that I say he's in there, and in the second segment, one of the victims, she said that she'd never seen him do anything wrong. And so, if I'm wrong, then I would like to actually apologize to him. Believe it or not, as much as I dislike his actions and his ways, I would apologize. But in the first segment, you'll hear the video that we're listening to, in this particular victim. And you know what? Let's not call them victims. Let's start there. This particular survivor, she says that, she didn't say that he didn't do anything. In fact, she just brought up the fact of she wishes that the media and everyone wouldn't focus on him so much. Not in saying that he wasn't involved or didn't do anything, but for the simple fact she feels like all the attention is being directed to him, and it's allowing others that participated or committed crimes to get away with it. And I can understand where she's coming from that. All right, so before we start segment one, I do want to put out a disclaimer on behalf of my moderators and myself, and hashtag I'm going to say it as a podcast. I want to put out a trigger warning. Like this could be triggering for some of you that may have not even been through situations like this. It still could be triggering, because I'm gonna tell you, even when I was listening to it and driving, it bothered me. It bothered me. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, if you will, if you don't mind, please share out the live. If you share out the live, let's just make sure we let people know that we are putting a trigger warning on this. We have announced that if you are below the age of 18, that you are to leave the live. You are not to be in here. Now, for today's show, we say it every day, and but that's just to cover ourselves. But definitely today, if you're below the age of 18, you cannot be here. If you know anybody that's in here that isn't above the age of 18, please notify a moderator, and they will take them to the block party or escort them out of the broadcast. All right, and once again, I'm apologizing in advance to anyone that this may be triggering to, but I do think that we do have to give support to these survivors. We do have to be a platform where they can come and we've had a lot of guests go to the block party lately, but we still got room for more if need be. But we have to be a community of safety for these survivors. And in addition to doing what we typically do, we want to continue to strive to be that as well, right? Again, we have a goal here that we need to meet. I forgot what it was. I think it's a slice of cake. So if you can help with that, I appreciate it. Give my panelists here, keep tapping and clapping. I got a friend that's in New York on her live. She says it don't cost no green to tap the screen. So I'd like to borrow that and let everybody know that it costs no green to tap the screen. So we can do that. Rochelle, thank you. Rochelle's hitting the gift goal. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'm not going to hold you all any longer because I'm going to be honest. I hadn't even eaten breakfast yet, but I wanted to get this in because we got like 4 segments, right? So I'm going to try not to talk throughout the audio or video so that way we can move expeditiously through it. But we're going to start with segment 1 now. Thank you for that heart, me. I appreciate it. And yes, if you enjoy the content, if you like the content, please support the channel. And you see the information's right there for the CA. And you see the handle on there that you can donate to. DJ Rocky B, welcome in. Thank you for the heart, me, bestie. I appreciate it. By the way, go and follow DJ Rocky B. For the first time, I got to go in her live. And she was DJing, and the vibes was great. The mood was right, and I just appreciated it. I needed that. DJ Rocky B, thank you for the lives. I appreciate it. Jesse, welcome in. Once again, those of you that are coming in right now, I have to put out there, today's show does have a trigger warning label on it, right? We do have the trigger warning label on today's show. I'm just letting everyone know. So you are staying here at your own will. We are telling you that it's a trigger warning, and if you feel like that's something you can't handle, then by all means exit the live now. All right, let's get to it.
We don't want George Santos released. We don't want Ghislaine Maxwell released. We want the Epstein child sex trafficking cover-up Trump files released. We're not content with just making an adverse inference that Donald Trump was involved, that he's the prime enabler, that he's hiding and he's covering up for all of his friends in powerful places. But while we're talking about the documents, can't forget the people who were the survivors of the child sex trafficking, the people who were being victimized again by Donald Trump, people like Lisa Phillips, a courageous survivor of the Epstein child sex trafficking, who's being victimized all over again by the Trump administration. And I'm proud to present to you the interview she gave on the Midas Touch Network. And here's a clip.
Lisa, it's great to see you. I want to show our audience this clip, though, right here of you on Capitol Hill. What I want to speak to you about your speech, then, what you make of what's going on now with the cover-up of these files, how that's impacting you as a survivor. But then I also want to talk about your background, how you ended up on Epstein's Island, starting as a fashion model for the top modeling agency in the world at that time, Elite Model Agency, when you were 17 years old. You then were a model for about 4 years or so before you arrived at that Epstein Island, and you observed the trafficking there. You saw that this was not just Epstein. You were able to observe what the trafficking ring that was taking place there at the time. And I want people to hear your story because I think it's important that it's told that way, not through the prism of Democrat, Republican, Independent, but from the prism of a survivor of a human sex trafficking ring, and that there are these predators still out there right now who are being protected by other powerful rich men. And so let me just play this brief clip of you on Capitol Hill to remind people of your incredible speech, and then let's talk about it. Let's play this clip.
A platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
Lisa Phillips, great to have you on here. It was a powerful day. Since that day, you've seen, though, the cover-up continue. I want to know what you make of that day. But since then, it seems that the people covering this up have only dug in their heels further.
Unfortunately, everyone focuses in the media and in the press on the relationship with Trump.
Hold on. She's in like a booth. Can y'all hear the audio okay? She's in a booth, so it's kind of like an echo, but I want to make sure on you guys' end you can hear it. You good? Okay, thank you, sis. All right.
And the cover up of just a little bit here, a little bit there, just to keep the public, interested, but they're not really exposing what they really have.
Thank you,
And
Michelle.
they have everything. There were cameras everywhere. There were documents. They've seen the emails. They basically have gone through everything, and they're not letting the public know what's going on.
And I want to rewind the story, and then I will catch us up to the present, because I think that so much of the way this is reported out there is through a political lens. And the reality is it should be reported through a survivor lens, and it should be reported through the lens also of exposing what was taking place, that this was a heinous human sex trafficking ring with hundreds, potentially thousands of victims, underage girls, young women. You were a victim and now survivor of it. How did you end up on that island, and what did you observe
Jenny,
when you were there in
I'm with you on
2000? You have this great modeling career, top modeling agency, one of viewed as the top modeling agency really in the world, that one of the top modeling agencies in the world. And then you get an invite. How do you get the invite? How do you end up there? And then tell us, what did you see when you got there, and how did it get from kind of getting there to the part where the exploitation was taking place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my whole point of speaking out was just to get people an understanding of what really was going on in that world. That it wasn't just, okay, I'm taking a young girl to a massage and that was it. It was, he brought you into his world. And so I was trying to get an understanding of that. And that's what most survivors standing on Capitol Hill were trying to get the public an understanding of what really was going on. And so for myself, I was a young model living the dream in New York City, had worked really hard to get there. I had graduate high school in Belgium. And so I just had worked my way, Miami, LA, Cape Town, South Africa, Europe, and then I arrived in New York City. And shortly after I arrived, I booked a really big job.
Thank you for sharing out
with
the
another
live,
girl
sis.
from my agency. She was a Polish model, beautiful. And we flew to Tortola in the British West Indies, next to St. Thomas, and just spent a few days shooting there. And then we had an extra, like a free day. And the other young model was like, well, I know this guy who owns an island nearby. And I spoke to him and he said that we can go and hang out there for the day. And I was like, oh, they're never going to let us go.
Sis
so
said most of the victims
we spoke
were
to the
taken
clients
into
and they were
dark
actually
room
like, well, go
and told
ahead.
to service these men.
And so we got on a boat and we went over to Little St. John's. And so, just spent the day at the pool. And at the pool, I observed an older man there with a couple young girls. They were blonde. And the girl who took me was blonde. And I just started noticing I was a little kind of out of place. But everything was fine. I got to know the girls. We played in the pool, we played in the ocean, and we actually had a really fun day. And then we got ready later on for dinner and went to this beautiful long dinner table, lots of delicious food and seafood, and had a really great time talking with the other young girls. And that's when, this charming man walks up and says, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey," and, kisses me on the cheek, sits down right next to me and begins to, focus in on me. He had already known the other girls there, so he was just asking questions and wanted to know a little bit more about my life and where I grew up. And I told him, I'd lived in England as a child, because my father was in the Air Force and we traveled around a lot in Europe. And he said, "Oh, do you want to meet a prince?" And I was just like, "Sure." And so at that moment, there was a man that was walking up. I recognized him from the man from the pool and just met him briefly. And then he walked away. And then Jeffrey would ask me questions about my family and my relationship with my father and how close I was to him. These kind of questions that triggered me a little bit at the time because I didn't have a very close relationship with my father, and I think he could sense that. And so we spoke kind of a deeper conversation that you don't normally have with a man. So he made me feel really comfortable and almost like he cared about me in a weird way. And I don't know, he just had this mentorship quality about him, asking about my dreams and aspirations. And I felt like I had a really great conversation with him, and I felt good about the situation at that point. So finished up with dinner and then went back to our quarters and got ready for bed because it was the evening. We were going to spend the night there and then head back to our island and photo shoot early that next morning. So I remember being on the sitting on the bed with the other young model and
Thank you for the
talking
Go
to her,
Popular,
and then there was a knock at the door, and one of the other young
Ty
girls
Chris,
walked in and
welcome
said, "Jeffrey's ready for his massage." And at that point, I just looked at the other girl and was like, "What's going on?" Like, "I don't know how to do a massage." And she's like, "Oh, well, Jeffrey just likes massages. It's kind of what we have to do. I wasn't really expecting for you to do that, but I guess he likes you, and we're just going to have to go do it." And so I kind of argued with a little bit with her because I just thought it was kind of weird. But I ended up going with her and walked across, the island to where Jeffrey's quarters were and his bedroom. And we walked into that room and, he was lying down on a massage table naked and, had this little silly grin come in and was very playful. The energy shifted a little bit. It was now more personal questions like, "Do you have a boyfriend?"
Rochelle said, "What the hell?" Exactly, Bestie.
A little like sexual things.
Sad.
And, did a real massage and taught me some massage techniques. And it was kind of, it was uncomfortable. But at that point, it was just like a weird, creepy massage. And then he turned over, and that's when things got a little bit dark. His demeanor changed, and I didn't feel really safe anymore, and I didn't really know what was going on, and I kept looking at her, and she was just like looking at me like, you need to do this. And so, at that point, that's when he assaulted both of us together in that room.
Yeah.
So that's basically what happened on the island, and we kind of just finished up and ran out of there.
And then where did you leave the next day, or did you go back to where you were before, where the client was?
Well, we had to stay the night there, so we went back to the room, and I remember, staring at the ceiling the entire night, didn't sleep, like, what the heck just happened? And I didn't really understand what was going on, and I was scared to death that he was going to come back or there was going to be another knock on the door, and it was going to get worse, but it didn't that night. I just, like you said, got on the boat, went back to the photo shoot, did my job, flew back to New York City.
Did he try to contact you afterwards? Was there further kind of communication or contact that took place?
Yeah, and this is the part of the story I really like people to understand about Epstein and his world. You're not getting away from his world. So once you've been abused by him, and I actually saw someone on the island that day, so I was kind of in and wasn't getting away. I didn't know that at the time, but his those secretaries that worked for him
Right, Nikki.
would call
Nikki
me
says, "Oh,
profusely.
my."
They would call me every single day saying, Jeffrey really, liked you. He thought you were powerful. He thought you were incredible. All these compliments to get me to go back and meet with him at his Upper East Side home. And I just refused every single day. It went on for months and they were basically harassing me. And one day Jeffrey called me and he just said to me, Lisa, I remember what you said on the island, that your dream was to be a Ford model. And I know Katie Ford. And she's a good friend of mine. And I would love to send you over there. He told her about you. And, you just need to go meet with her. And I was like thinking, okay, he's not a bad guy. He wants to help me out. He listened to me. Maybe that was just like my fault. Maybe I was flirty. I don't know. I had just, victims just blame themselves in these kind of situations. I think it's a coping mechanism just to say, oh, maybe he's not bad. And so I just did what he said because it was the biggest goal for me. I told him that on the island. And I went and met with Katie Ford a couple days later, and she signed me up and, got into Katie's world at that point, thinking at the time that, I've made it and this is like the next step for me and this is what I deserve.
I want to pause real quick. She brings up Katie Ford. How many of you remember we did a broadcast a few days ago and we was talking about a picture from one of Diddy's parties and Katie Ford was in that picture. And then actually there was two pictures. There was a picture of where she was with a group of people along with Diddy in there. And I told you she looked like she was completely out of it, right? Thank you for the pumpkins, Natty. I appreciate that, bestie. Let's get up to Natty. She just lit up that pumpkin and, gift in the gift gallery. Oh, that was Kate Moss. Kate Moss, you're right. You're right, sis. I'm sorry. Scratch that then. Yeah, it was Kate Moss. You're right. I'm sorry. It was Kate Moss, not Katie Ford. That's correct. Thank you. And that's why she's a moderator, too. She keeps me in line. Thank you so much. Also, I see we got new people in here. I want to let you all know that just people that are just coming in, we have put a trigger warning discretion on here on today's broadcast, right? So if you're just coming in, remember, it is a trigger warning label attached to this broadcast today. Thank you for joining, but if you feel like that may be too much for you, we request that you leave the live now, so that way, you know. All right, howdy. Thank you for that, Natty. I appreciate that hat mustache. So, as you're coming in, I let everybody know in the beginning, I won't be talking or stopping the audio as much because some of them are pretty lengthy, about half hour or so, and we got 4 segments to do today. And I don't want to hold you all too long. I know you all have lives as well. So I won't be stopping as much, but I definitely want to make sure we serve as a platform to hear these victims, his victim. No, scratch that. Let me correct myself. His survivors of his essay, make sure we give them a voice and a platform, right? To speak their truth. Thank you for that level up sparks, Natty. All right, so we're going to get back to it.
And I just started seeing Jeffrey more in a light of a mentor and helper, like he presented himself in the beginning. And Katie Ford said, I love Jeffrey, and everyone that I would meet in New York at that time.
Oh, that's right. Katie Ford is in the modeling industry. Right, you're right.
Also did love and adore and spoke very highly about Jeffrey Epstein at that time. So I was starting to get a little confused about him, but I never forgot what had happened.
And then what happened next? When did the kind of communication stop with Epstein in that world? Was it around the arrest? When did communications really cease?
Oh, no, it didn't stop after that. Because now I was in the modeling industry world. There's a very well-known sex trafficking ring that was going in the modeling industry world. Jean-Luc Brunel, John Casablanca, Katie, and many others that were sending young girls to Jeffrey. And Jeffrey was also, would use, I know, Victoria's Secret, I have a part ownership. And So there was a lot going on in that world. And that's actually when I spoke out at Capitol Hill, I brought that into it so people can be aware what was going on during that time. Jeffrey would call me up and say, I have an audition for you, put me on a plane, go travel for an audition, who was with a very powerful producer or director at the time. And I'm thinking it's an audition. Found out many years later, many girls were sent to the same producers, directors, or people in Hollywood for an audition, but it was a lot more. It ended up being a lot more than that. I also have an NDA with a very big celebrity that Jeffrey had sent me to for like a party, and later on something terrible happened. So there were things that were going on that I was just like, what is going on? Then to answer your question, I had a young friend who was blonde, who was a beautiful, ambitious young woman who knew Jeffrey at that time. And she came to me crying one day and said, you don't really understand who Jeffrey is. And I'm like,
hey, good morning, Bessie. How you doing, Marie?
I don't understand what's going on here either. So we started talking about it, and she said she was made to have sex with someone, and she just spiraled out of control. And the young girls at the time, we just all started talking and started to figure out something's going on. And that's when the Vanity Fair article was released with him flying with Bill Clinton to South Africa, Kevin Spacey, and then shortly after he was arrested.
Great. So that's what I want to hear.
He started unraveling through those years and getting more exposed in that world, and people starting to figure things out. And then, of course, the major cover-ups that were happening.
So as you brought the other survivors together and all started kind of talking and sharing these experiences, what were some of the themes, if you will, that came up kind of over and over again? It seems that this was a highly structured, kind of an organized thing. You arrive at the island, there's they impress you with the pool and owning an island. Then the dinner takes place where he does the routine. He seems to be asking certain questions to determine family relationships. Are you close with your parents? Things like that. Have the initial sexual assault take place, and then afterwards utilize a victim or survivor to then send to the other rich people and other celebrities fake auditions and things like that. And again, it seems highly structured. That's why I wanted to talk to you about this too, is just so that people understand the way this sex trafficking organization worked. It was methodical. It was there were levels to it. There were lieutenants and there were generals and there were different tiers of the people who young models were being pushed to be sexually assaulted.
Yes, you just summed it up right there, and that's why I spoke out originally. And you're understanding this is 15 to 20 years later for a lot of us survivors. So back then we were kind of figuring things out, but we had no idea the magnitude of what really was going on, and we wanted to get on with our lives. And most of us, we got on with our lives, became mothers, and a lot of us work in this advocacy world or became therapists but it wasn't until he died in 2019. I mean, until he died, it was when I realized, okay, wait a second. Now I feel safe enough to start understanding what happened to me back then. It was always so confusing, and there was never anyone to really talk to about it. So it was Virginia Giuffre who spoke out and said I was trafficked to, she has a long list of men. And when she was saying these men, I remember seeing some of those men. So I believed her. And I had a friend also who was trafficked to the same one. And so I said, I want to support this woman. And not knowing what I was getting into at the time, but I started speaking out in documentaries. And then slowly I had to start telling my story. And I wasn't ready for it because I had so much to support the other women. I wasn't really ready to start saying I was abused too, because I didn't understand my role in it. I always felt like it was my fault. And I didn't know how to get out of it. I just was so confused about it until we start learning about the grooming and how all these young women were just groomed by him, masterfully manipulated and groomed by the best of all time, who had enablers and all these other people helping him. And Jeffrey was a fiend.
Hold on, let me pause it for a second. Listen, let me let y'all know something. in addition to having the best moderating team on TikTok, they are also outstanding event planners. And I'm seeing a lot of you going to the block party. You're getting your invitations to the block party. Listen, if you don't like the content, just scroll up, leave. They are going, if you come in here and you act like you don't have good sense, they are not afraid to send you to the block party. And they have full control over that. And they are not afraid. And I tell you something else. They're not afraid to cuss you out on here neither. So come in, have some decorum, sit down, cool out with us. If you don't like it, keep it pushing. If not, my moderator's gonna get you. You ain't got to worry about me. They gonna get you. You get me? Now he said, and Will, I love me some block parties. and I'm telling you, man, they ready. They ready. So the best thing for you to do is come in and act right. If you can't, hey, you can pick your seat in the block party. And understand, we didn't have to spend $250-300 million to expand where we hold our block parties at. Our ballroom is real big. It's forever big. We ain't spending no taxpayers' dollars on it neither. And my moderators are great at event planning. You will get an invitation. All right? You either rough ride rough, or roll over. Period. All right? And that's just how it's going to go. Don't think anybody's going to feel sympathy for you. Because we're not. We're not. Hey, Bessie.
Bestie, good morning. I just want to add to this real quick because I'm a little busy. It's just like coming
Okay.
to someone's house, who's hosting a party. You come in there, you act like you have manners, and you know, give your comments or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you don't like my party, you don't like my house, keep it to yourself and just take it home with you and just don't ever come back. That's all he's saying. You're at our house, you're at a party, so just come in with common sense and, do the right thing. That's all. I'm out, Bestie. Love you guys.
Exactly. I love you, Bessie. Thank you. Thank you for all the work you do, too.
You're welcome.
She is exactly right. That's it. That's it. That's all we saying.
He was a sex fiend. All he talked about was sex. He had to get off 6 to 8 times a day. Young woman going into his Upper East Side mansion 6 to 8 times a day. And a lot of the girls knew about his creepy massages, but we didn't speak further on how, and this is common among serial predators. Most of the Larry Nassar, the doctor for the gymnast, like none of them, they would say, oh, you're getting this weird doctor thing. No, but no one spoke about it until many years later when someone had the courage to speak up. And then it's like, oh, that's what's happening to me too. And when I spoke to these survivors that were underage at the time, I was like, okay, I was in my early 20s, like hundreds of others, but it was the exact same type of abuse that he was doing. It was the exact same MO with the massage turning into an assault. So I just started speaking out and gained confidence, and through therapy, and I just was building into this powerful woman who wanted to make a difference. So that's kind of what led up to today.
So you've spoken Capitol Hill. It's important for you and the survivors you were with to have these files released to bring transparency to what's been taking place. Tell us why that's important. Just so people, it may seem obvious, but it may not be obvious. Why do you want to see those files get released and bring transparency there?
Well, really, for me, it's just because people are so confused about what's going on. Not only us survivors are still confused, but like the transparency, like what is really going on. Everyone makes it about Trump and Epstein. Okay, maybe there's something there, and about Epstein, but it's about this whole ring of men. The only person in jail is Ghislaine. a woman. So where are all the other men that were benefiting and profiting from all of this? That's what makes me upset, because us survivors, we know that they were there. We saw them. We know that we're royalty, princes, very powerful people in academia and tech, and we saw them at parties. They knew what was going on. Why aren't they exposed? And people say, well, why are you speaking out now? Well, we're pissed off now because nothing has happened. And yeah, it's just a frustrating thing for me. So I'm at the point where it's like I'm at my wit's end standing on Capitol Hill. It was more just like, look, I'm not going to sit up here and just tell my sob story like everybody else is. We need to do something about it. You think you have the power? I mean, you don't think that we have the power too? You don't think that we understand what's going on here? So it was really just to say, you need to do something, because we also have the power to do something. And as you saw, look how many people stood up for us too.
Absolutely. I mean, the country standing up for you. I mean, the frustrating thing is that most of the country standing up for you and saying, release these files. And it shouldn't be a political thing. Just release the files and support the survivors. It should be a very simple thing. I mean, it should be the obvious thing. Now, the Speaker of the House, Speaker Johnson, he often invokes the victims and the survivors. He says, the reason that we can't release these files is I'm looking out for the survivors here and the victim. He said that over, thus we can't release the files. So what would you say there to Speaker Johnson or anybody who invokes the name of survivors as the reason why they're not releasing the files?
Well, I think there's something to be said that's very truthful when Johnson says that, is because what they do know involves a lot of survivors that were underage and some children. So maybe in some ways they do want to protect that. I've always said it goes very dark. And so a lot of times what they're going to release, the real evidence and the real stuff that's out there, a lot of people probably aren't really ready to see. And there are young survivors that were abused. And so in a way, there might be some protection of the survivors. We do collectively understand that. And many of us, or many young women or children at the time, were probably in those records or in those videotapes, from my understanding. So maybe there is some type of protection, and maybe they're just taking time to really figure out how to handle this. And then we have, the very powerful people who don't want anything released as well. So there's probably some protection there, major protection there.
Has there been any effort to try to talk with them or speak with, the FBI? I mean, they spoke with Ghislaine, but there hasn't seemed, at least up until now, I've heard that they hadn't returned the calls of survivors or haven't set meetings with survivors, because perhaps one of the ways to address all of these concerns would be to speak to the survivors directly and figure it out. And, can we redact the names of the victims? And obviously we shouldn't be showing the videos of sexual assault and rape of anybody. So there's a way not to release those, but also release the names of the powerful men, because I can't see the justification for invoking the names of survivors for not releasing the information on the sex trafficking ring that's still out there today. I certainly get, let's make sure survivors that don't want their names out there or don't want their images out there. Sure, absolutely. But on the sex trafficking ring, these men are still out. These people are still, a lot of them are still alive out there, probably doing this right now,
that doesn't go away, right? That addiction and that perversion doesn't go away. It only gets stronger. Has there ever been, where does that stand with FBI, DOJ meeting with you? Have you requested meetings with them? We have requested, and they have reached out. I don't think they're doing 100% full effort, but they have reached out to a few survivors. I mean, we're in the process. I mean, there is a confidential process in development that allows for survivors the opportunity to share what they know with people in DC. So that is an ongoing thing right now.
And what do you make of it when, to your point, I mean, look, was there a Trump-Epstein friendship, relationship? Yes. Grounding this story in a purely Trumpy, is he in the files? I don't know. Maybe, who knows? I mean, but the reality is he seemed to have made it a lot about himself by himself making it about. That's been the strange part, is that he's very personalized this and said, this is an attack on me, and this is a hoax, and this is an attack on me. And so he's been one of the main people who have I was like, okay, we'll just release the files. The survivors want the files released. Regardless of whether the president was Trump or some other person, just the fact that the president of the United States is using the word hoax, and he could maybe say, well, I mean, as it relates to, I don't know, but he's using the word hoax around a story that you described that is catastrophic, traumatic, and has impacted thousands of women in the worst way possible. You just don't use the word hoax around this. Like it's
No, that was very, it was insensitive for him to say it like that. I mean, I do see that he is getting extremely attacked. And so now he's relating everything to him. And I do wish the press, the media would stop attacking him so much so we can actually look at the others that are involved. Because when they do focus on him so much, we're not getting answers of what's going on with everyone else. So I can agree with him in that way of stop attacking him so we can shift the focus somewhere else. And I don't know if that would help or not, but I just feel like every single interview is about the relationship with Trump. And I'm trying to say there's so many more out there that we can focus on to get answers.
And what's the message that you want out there more than that? Just about, like, as you went to Capitol Hill, said you want the files released. You want others, in addition to Ghislaine, held accountable. Let me ask you about that before this, because we haven't talked about Ghislaine. You know, Ghislaine's acted like she knows nothing about this, and that she's,
Prince Andrew being stripped from his titles is a great step forward. I agree.
When she spoke to the DOJ, she acted like she was not anywhere knowledgeable. What did you make of that interview?
It was infuriating. Ghislaine was the mastermind. I know in the 90s that everyone, from what I've researched and have been told, that she was the mastermind in the 90s. I think other people took over this whole operation in the 2000s, but she knows everything. I mean, and everyone was involved knows that she knows everything. I think she is just trying to, save grace at this point, so she can get out and be free. But there's a lot of survivors that were affected by her and abused by her. So they're not standing down, and they will not let her be released. There will be a very big fight.
What message do you want to send to everybody out there who, you have a For Survivors podcast. Yes. You're going to be one of the people leading the Sexual Predators Accountability Institute, which is a nonprofit to help other survivors. So you've made this also part of your life work. So what other message do you want to send out there to people?
Well, my message is always for survivors, just to own your story and be able to speak out and try to get the justice that you really do deserve, whether it's through litigation or just through healing. And on Monday, Governor Newsom signed the Assembly Bill 250, which reopens the California adult window for another 2 years, starting on January 1st of 2026. So that's a big deal. That's a great start in the right direction for survivors to go back, whether it's 10, 20, 30 years, and be able to go after and get justice, for what happened to them. So I always stand for survivors. My podcast is about, survivor voices, and that's my mission.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I know it's hard to go back into some of those areas. I should say I don't know as a man, but I could only I can't even imagine. There's no words for me
I
to
know, right? I
describe what
feel
you've
you,
been
Ben.
through,
I'm
other
with
than
you,
for me
man.
to thank you about what you're doing to bring attention to this. And so, when the website goes live for the Sexual Predator Accountability Institute, we'll make sure to promote that here and tell other survivors where they can go to contact you as well. And thank you for sharing your story, Lisa. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's give it up for Lisa Phillips. She is a survivor of this guy's essay, you know. Also, let's pray for Lisa Phillips. You all can't see it, but just in watching the video, you can still tell that she still has a healthy fear about someone talking about some things. And she's very careful and cautious about some things that she says, right? So we know that that's still a healthy fear that she's facing in the midst of still trying to uh, tell her truth, right? And get her story out and be an advocate for other victims. So just saying, welcome in. Yeah, right. That's not she. Just saying said that's not something you just get over, and that's true. That is so true. I don't think they will ever be over it completely. I don't, and we want to make sure, like I said, we keep Lisa Phillips in our thoughts and prayers because we do know that when you are coming out or when you're speaking out against certain powerful people, you are in danger, right? There is a healthy danger that could go with that. All right, so we want to give it up to her, and not only give it up to Lisa Phillips. Let's also make sure we give it up to Legal AF and the Midas Touch Network for allowing her to be interviewed and bringing her on their platform and giving her a safe space to speak. So let's give it up to them as well. And now let's go to segment 2 of the show. Remember, those of you that are new here, thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining us here on hashtag I'm Going to Say It. We appreciate it. But we just want to remind you all, because you may not have even, especially those who just came in. I know they don't know. So we would want to inform them that this is a trigger warning show for today. It's a trigger warning broadcast. So it's viewer discretion is advised, listening discretion is advised, and all of that, right? But more than welcome to stay. But we just want to make sure we let you all know that there is a trigger warning label attached to today's broadcast. All right, so let's go into a second segment. And behind me is Virginia Giuffre. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Unfortunately, yes, sis. Rest in peace to her. She allegedly passed away from self-unaliving. I'm not here to debate. That's a whole nother show. I'm not going to say anything on it, but we'll just leave it right there. And as you know, she had a book that came out. And the book that came out it speaks on certain things that happened to her. And there's some names that's brought up. Like I said before, previously when we started the broadcast, she does speak in favor of the person that's occupying the White House. And so by her saying that, it makes me wonder why. Not why. Yeah, why? By her saying the things that she stated about him there, and you'll hear why he's adamantly against releasing the files. Because it seems like everything that's being said. Hold on, let me bring him. Never up. Hey, Never, I'm gonna bring you up. I'm gonna mute you up though, okay? How you been doing?
I'm all right.
Okay, good, good. Thank you for joining.
All right.
I mean, she put, as we say in the world of pro wrestling, she puts him over really, really well. Puts him over. That means, talk about him, give him his accolades, make him look good. All of that. She does it. So I don't understand why he won't release the files. However, before we do get to the story, I want to show you another, and I won't leave it up long. I just want to show you all. And again, she's a survivor. She's a survivor, but I want to show you all just something that she had to endure. That's something that she had to endure while being essayed by this guy. And so, like I said, makes us wonder why they won't release the file. And you have a lady who had to endure things such as this right here. The honorable thing to do, the moral thing to do, would be to release it, right? Well, as you know, on the 21st, this is her book, Nobody's Girl. It came out October 21st, and she talks about some things in the book that she had to endure, things that she saw, things that she experienced while being in this particular situation, right? My sister said the FBI called her a month prior of passing of a threat on her life, and she went into hiding. Yeah, and that is going to be it's documented in the book. She's going to talk about that as well. So I'm not going to hold you all any longer. I'm going to go ahead and play the audio. Yeah, I agree with you, Jessanne. Jessanne says that title alone is so sad, and I agree. Like, it's powerful. It's simple and powerful. Right? Sometimes you don't need all the extra. Right? It's just to the point in knowing what happened and giving what happened. That title right there just resonates, like it rings loud, right? And so, yeah, I agree with you on that, Jessanne. By the way, again, this is a trigger warning show, people. So just coming in, there is a trigger warning. All right? Make sure we get that out.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. You know the name Virginia Giuffre, and there is a reason for that. Because she made damn sure the world wouldn't forget it. She was just a teenager when powerful grown men started treating her like property, passing her around like she was some kind of sex toy. She should have been worrying about her grades or crushes or college applications or prom, not billionaires and private jets and how to satisfy them sexually so she wouldn't get in trouble. But that's exactly how she ended up. Inside Jeffrey Epstein's orbit and under Ghislaine Maxwell's control. Virginia didn't go public for fame. She didn't want money. She didn't want headlines. She wanted something far more simple, to not be invisible, to make sure that what happened to her and who did it to her couldn't be buried with hush money or sealed court files. Because the truth is, she was just one girl among many abused by Epstein and his friends. And the people who used her, they were some of the most powerful and rich men in the world. And yet, she is refusing to stay silent even in death. And because of that, their secrets are finally starting to unravel. She spoke out in life as much as she could, and now, as I'm sure you're aware, after her death by suicide this year, she's speaking out from the grave in the form of a wrenching memoir that came out just today. I'm recording this on October 21st, 2025. The book is called Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice. And while it is tempting to call her posthumous recollections a tell-all, my friends, I'm afraid they're not. I mean, you will find the names in bold print of some of the famous men who Virginia says sexually abused her, other than Epstein, but only those that she'd outed before in legal documents. The rest can be surmised, some more readily than others. And I'll tell you, the internet has been surmising its brains out all day today. But I decided to go one step further. I spoke with Virginia's co-author, a woman named Amy Wallace, who is keenly aware that even the rich and powerful cannot threaten a dead woman. But they can make life extremely unpleasant for co-authors and publishers. And so we get passages like this, quote, "I came to be trafficked to a multitude of powerful men. Among them were a gubernatorial candidate who was soon to win an election in a western state and a former U.S. senator." And she goes on to say this, quote, "The second person I was lent out to was a psychology professor whose research Epstein was helping to fund," end quote.
If you're a producer who hates AI, this plugin might...
Second, we got a commercial here.
Frey writes of a quote-unquote heralded statesman to whom she was lent out in New York and Palm Beach, who also, she says, was the oldest man Epstein ever made her service. She also described being handed around to, quote, billionaire number 1 and his pregnant wife, as well as billionaire number 2, who was a 52-year-old man with thinning brown hair. And if you wonder what Jeffrey Epstein got out of lending Virginia Giuffre out to his pals and others, like swimsuits at a pool party, she has one word for that: leverage. She writes that Epstein had every room wired for video and sound. Bedrooms, bathrooms, massage rooms, everywhere. And she says he kept a huge library of all the videotapes. She says he told her those recordings gave him leverage, gave him control over very powerful men, which presumably might extend long after Epstein's death in a New York jail cell back in 2019. And then there's the matter of what she said about Donald Trump. And I'm going to get to that in a second. But first, I want to thank you so much for supporting this podcast. Atlas and I could not do this without you or our sponsors like Wild Grain. I got to tell you, I'm kind of obsessed with Wild Grain. And if you haven't heard of it yet, you're seriously missing out. Because Wild Grain is the first ever bake from frozen box for real artisanal breads, pastries, and fresh pastas. And here's what I love. Wild Grain uses a slow fermentation process, which means it's easier on your tummy, and it's higher in nutrients and antioxidants, and it's made with ingredients that you can actually pronounce. Plus, everything is customizable. So you can pick your favorites. You can try their seasonal goodies, or you can switch it up with their new gluten-free or plant-based boxes. I gotta say, my first Wild Grain box totally surprised me. I'm a big sourdough fan, so I popped the sourdough loaf right into the oven, and 25 minutes later, the entire kitchen smelled like a bakery. The crust was crisp, the inside was soft and warm, and it tasted completely homemade, especially with the butter. Lots of it. And don't even get me started on the pumpkin cinnamon biscuits, because let me just say, Atlas was waiting patiently below for his piece. But this time it was little. This fall, treat yourself and your loved ones to warm sourdough breads and seasonal baked goods from Wild Grain. Rumor has it they have apple cider donuts and pumpkin cinnamon biscuits too. So get them before these seasonal items sell out. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering my listeners $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/Banfield. to start your subscription. You heard me. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/Banfield. That's wildgrain.com/Banfield, or you can just use my promo code Banfield at checkout. And by all means, tell all your friends. They're allowed to use the promo code too. Banfield. Don't miss these seasonal products. Okay. Back to Virginia Giuffre's book and what she wrote about President Donald Trump. Look, it has never been a secret that Trump was in Epstein's orbit. There are photos, there's videos, you know, they're dancing together, there's flight logs, and Virginia had a job at Mar-a-Lago, right? Her dad had a job at Mar-a-Lago. That's where she met Ghislaine Maxwell. So how does Trump fare in the pages of Virginia's memoir? It might surprise you to hear that he fares very well.
DJ KY
never abused her, and that she
okay.
never
DJ
witnessed him
Kamani
taking part
one.
in
Thank you for
Epstein's
the rose. I
sex
appreciate it.
trafficking.
Welcome to hashtag. I'm
Which
gonna
brings
say
me
it.
to a wider point. Until his secret life was exposed, Jeffrey Epstein was a paragon, admired not only for his success, but the causes that he championed and the millions of dollars that he pledged to give away. Not that he followed through, because he didn't. The vast majority of people who hobnobbed with Jeffrey Epstein were not.
Mo Better Buzz, thank you for that heart me. I
Sex
appreciate it. Make
criminals
sure
or
you pick up
criminals of
your
any
points up
kind.
there by clicking on that orange
Prince
heart above me, please.
Andrew, on the other hand, while never criminally charged, he settled a lawsuit
Thank you for that
from
cake slice,
Virginia
DJ
Giuffre
Kamani
in
one. I
2022,
appreciate it. Thank you for that heart
that
me.
she was trafficked to him through Epstein at age 17. In her book, she refers to the prince as Andy and says she, quote, serviced him 3 times. Once during an orgy involving 9 underage girls. Days after that, she says she awoke in a pool of blood with Epstein rushing her to a hospital where she found out that she had lost a pregnancy. There is no word on whether that pregnancy was Epstein's or anyone else's for that matter. She says neither Epstein nor any of the men that he trafficked her to ever wore condoms. But perhaps the book's most horrifying account involves a man Virginia calls only
Thank you for that. You're
a, quote,
awesome. I
well-known
appreciate that, Mo
prime
Better
minister
Buzz.
from an
420.
unnamed country. She writes, and I quote, Epstein trafficked me to a man who raped me more savagely than anyone had before. He repeatedly choked me until I lost consciousness. She says that she begged Epstein never to send her back to that man, but that Epstein refused. Earlier today on my News Nation show, Banfield, I talked to Virginia's co-author, Amy Wallace. Amy calls Giuffre's memoir a, quote, predator's playbook. It took 4 years, she says, for them to write it together. And here's our conversation. I have such a curiosity about the knowledge that Virginia had, the knowledge that Virginia and you wrote down, and then what the finished product was. How much was edited out? Like, how many names of perpetrators were actually edited out for myriad reasons?
When you're all done handing out candy, enjoy.
Another commercial. Hold on.
No, the purpose of her book was never to write a list of names. The list of names exists. It exists in the FBI files. It exists in the Epstein files, as we now call them. She had named many names in depositions already that have been made public. There are 4 different document dumps that there are many, many names in those. The goal of the book was to take you inside the experience of a 16-year-old girl who is swept into this world of predation. Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein trafficking these girls and young women to their friends. And it's Virginia's experience from being abused very terribly in her young life, escaping, becoming a mom and a wife, and then becoming an advocate for others. So obviously, names are of interest to people. Any victim has to weigh the back and forth of the cost and the payoff of naming a name to try to hold your abusers to account, and then what comes with that. So loss of privacy, loss of safety in Virginia's case.
The lady speaking is the co-author of Virginia Giuffre's book here behind me.
She had a death threat that the FBI called and told her was verified. She had people breaking into her house. So this wasn't a paranoia on her part. She knew that there were dangers. And so with every different scene in the book, I know all the names that are there, but every different scene she had to make a decision about whether or not she was going to rename or name these people. And the book is the result of those decisions that she made.
Well, and I would assume anybody who's associated with the book, you're connected, the publishers, everybody is liable if these extraordinarily wealthy and powerful people decide to come after you. So I would have assumed it was a team effort to say, can't name this one, can't name this one, or it's a world of hurt for everybody involved.
Well, I mean, any book like this, and you know this, you know, of course, you fact check. We interrogated it. I mean, it's part of the reason that she hired me. I've been a journalist for 30 plus years. I know how to investigate things. So this was not. I think there's a mystery surrounding a ghostwriter collaboration arrangement. This was not just me turning on my tape recorder and having her speak into it, and then transcribing it, and then cleaning it up a little bit and putting it into a book form. It involved a lot of extra reporting around her, a lot of documentation from, as I said, court records. I've read all of the depositions, not just hers, but everyone's in the case that have been made public. We talked to a lot of people around her who knew her contemporaneously during the Epstein and Maxwell abuse. Et cetera. That's not the full summary of our fact checking and our carefulness, but we knew, and she knew all along, that she was a target. If she raised her hand, she was going to get potentially slammed, and everything needed to be buttoned up. And we worked very hard to make that happen.
The hair stood up on my neck when you said the tapes, because I realized that's how you work. When you're working with someone as a co-writer or a ghostwriter, you tape those long interviews, and then you work with the material, which means there's tapes that have names. Will we ever hear those tapes? Will we ever hear those names? Is it a matter of waiting for certain people to die because you can't defame someone who's dead?
I think the question, the place to aim that question is towards the Department of Justice. You know, yes, I know who the names are. Virginia knows who the names are. But so does the FBI, and so does the Department of Justice. That's why there's such a clamoring right now for the Epstein files to be released.
I was surprised to see Virginia come out in support of President Trump as much as she did. A lot of people think he's not releasing the files because he's in them. And she's saying, at least when it comes to her, he's not. He wasn't involved at all. I think that's a big surprise to a lot of people. Is that the reaction you're getting, that Trump is cleared as far as Virginia's concerned?
I mean, when we announced the book, we made it clear that Trump was not implicated. Again, as you point out, Virginia was in the Epstein-Maxwell orbit for about 24 months, a little longer. And so she only knows about that period. But in that period, she didn't see Trump in any sort of compromising position. She didn't see him abuse anyone. And in fact, you know, remember, she is procured by Ghislaine Maxwell. She is approached by this posh British woman with a beautiful outfit, beautiful handbag at Mar-a-Lago Spa, where she is working as a $9 an hour towel girl in the Mar-a-Lago club, which obviously Trump still owns. So she knew Donald Trump because she worked there. She thought she was honored to work there. It was a beautiful place, and she met him several times because her father also worked there, and introduced him to her. He said, "Do you babysit?" She said yes. He gave her, you know, he had her babysit.
Excuse me, hold on. Let me pause and make an announcement real quick. I just came across the wire that there is a bomb threat at a USPS. I'm assuming that's a post office, and that there's shots fired here in Atlanta. So if you check on your peoples. Hold on. Let's see. I got a guess too. Just check on your people and make sure everybody's okay. If you're out and about in the A, please be safe. Watch your back. Keep your eyes open. Make sure that you are aware of your surroundings at all times. DJ Kamani One, thank you for coming up. I'm gonna put you on mute real quick, and then after we finish the broadcast or the videos, we're gonna talk. Okay.
for some of her friends when they visited the club. So she had fond memories of him from her teenagehood. And then I was there in Australia with her in October, right before the presidential election. And here was this former president running for president again, partly on the plank that he was going to release the Epstein files. And she felt very validated by that. You know, remember, these women have been called liars, sluts, whores for a long time, for many years since they've come forward. And they shouldn't be believed. They shouldn't be believed. And here was a man, a former president, somebody who she hoped would be president again, saying, I'm validating you. This is wrong. These files should be public. We should make them public. So she was absolutely, you know, galvanized by that. She felt very, very happy about it and hoped that he would win.
If the government continues to be as obstinate as it has been for the last 20 years, will you or publishers or anybody else associated with the project, upon the death of those people who are perpetrators, name them?
CVS doesn't want you to know you can get 100 milligram.
Hold on 1 second. We got commercials again.
I am a hired gun. I am a hired writer. This is not my book.
But you have the info. I know, but you have the info. She told you these things. She reported them to you.
Absolutely. And I've said that in every interview because I want people to know.
And you have the tapes.
I guess I absolutely have the tapes. They're not
Would you
anywhere.
release them if those perpetrators die?
Anywhere someone could steal them, by the way. They're safe.
Are you able to say anything more about that?
No, but just nobody can find them, so don't break into my house.
They're in a safe place that no one will be able to sleuth.
No, no one will be able to find them. I feel like this interview is focusing in the wrong place, and I'll tell you why. The point of this book for Virginia was to help other survivors, and there are, you know, you can't walk down the street without encountering half the people you see have been abused. They just don't tell you about it. So she wanted to help people who had been sexually traumatized over their lifetimes to feel less alone. Being sexually abused, particularly as a young person, is something that damages you forever. And her biggest accomplishment, aside from naming names, aside from holding these people to account, is that she managed to have an open heart and want to make the world a better place for all of us, not just for her, for our kids, not just for her kids. She did that. She's an American hero.
I respect what you're saying, and it is a laudable mission that she carried out with this book to help survivors and quote unquote write the predator's playbook to warn others. I think the only reason I am pressing for that is because there are so many people who are desperate for these Epstein files so that men and women, if there are, will be held accountable who are not currently being held accountable. So forgive me if it felt like an interrogation. I'm only just being the voice of viewers who are so frustrated with the government that will not hold these people accountable, and hoping for anybody else, survivors who went to Capitol Hill and Virginia Giuffre alike, to do what the government won't do. But I appreciate you coming on and talking to me about this. Thank you so much, Amy.
Of course. And I appreciate you shedding light on these issues. And I don't mind the hard questions. I just think that the focus too often is on putting the impetus on the weakest among us who've already been hurt. And the time now is to put the focus on the stronger among us who have not been doing their jobs.
So here's where things stand. Virginia Giuffre's voice, the one that first cracked open Jeffrey Epstein's world, is echoing yet again, even in her death. Her memoir, Nobody's Girl, is out now, and it's forcing a lot of very powerful people to squirm. The men who thought that her story would vanish with her, they were wrong. Her book is out, and the tapes are hidden, well hidden. But Virginia names names in her own voice, and it is very possible that one day those tapes and the names on them will be released in her voice. Because even in death, Virginia Giuffre is still holding up a mirror to the people who enabled Epstein and to the system that let it all happen. And the question now isn't just who did this to her. It's whose secret is still safe and for how long.
Let's just have a moment of silence for Virginia Giuffre. Okay, thank you. Now let's give it up to her. Even posthumous, she's still fighting for survivor. I mean, for victims, and I think that just goes to show. And again, like I said, I'm gonna keep it to myself. It's a whole show for something else, but allegedly she unalived herself. I'm not gonna get into it. I want to so bad. I have panelists up here. Let's talk. Really, this is halftime. Halftime. We still got 2 more segments to go, but and shoot, let's give it up to the platform. Let's give it up to the platform for actually allowing us to get through something like that without getting in its feelings. You know, Neville, what you think about it? Or you may not be there. Marie, what about you?
Oh, I had my phone still muted. My bad.
Oh, it's okay.
Bad, y'all.
Thank you, Ivy Island. I appreciate that. Thank you for the heart.
It's a sad situation, and I know she got to respect the young lady wishes, but even the allegedly part, I don't think that's true either. I think they covered it up and did it also, right?
Right.
But I think something like that with her having what she have, I think it just needs to be put out. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I was just going to go at it,
Mm-hmm.
the hell with how I am, because the thing is, you said she focusing on one point. That's the point she needs to be focusing on, man. People doing stuff like this to young women, man. That ain't cool, man. Cause I got a daughter. I'll be just like that man in The Time to Kill.
I love that movie. Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I am the same way. So I am in complete agreement with you, Neville. You know.
And I believe, even though he wasn't involved with that little girl, right, with that one, but I believe he got some. He tapes and stuff.
And that's where I'm at with it too. I didn't want to get into, but yeah, that's where I'm at with it too. I'm the same way, because it's like I was saying. Okay, so if she's saying he's, he didn't do anything to her, and he's always been respectful or whatever when she's been around him. The first person on the first segment, Lisa Phillips, she was saying, she didn't say he didn't. She just said she wished the media would stop just focusing on him, because it's allowing the others. Because if you listen to it, she didn't say he wasn't a part. She just said it's allowing the others. You see what I'm saying? You got me?
Yeah.
So and then here he is fighting to not release it. It's like, okay, so if you have nothing to do with it, why are you not releasing it? And then some people are like, well, Clinton's on there. So that still doesn't make sense, because Clinton was a Democrat. So if he's a Democrat, and then you're saying that the pretender in chief right now has nothing to do with it, why wouldn't he put it out? That's for the other party. That'd go against the other party. But yet and still, he's not putting it out. That speaks volumes, brother.
And also, right, his guy, when he don't want to put it out, it's despising something like this. I believe also it's a lot of people who are donors to him. Because the thing is, if the world know about you the chief, you run the world, you want to bring justice to somebody, something like that, and let people know that we ain't standing for nothing like that. Everybody in them files are high power people that's tied into a lot of people that got power to go back to him and other people. That's all it is.
True. That is true. That's true. Hey, let's W Never in the live. It is so true. It's hopefully the right thing happens here soon. Let's transition to segment 3. Segment 3 is a little. This is awkward. Let's put up what we're talking about here in segment 3. Yeah, there. All right. So we all know who this person is, right? I'm about to mute you up, Never. All right. We all know who this person is. We all know that she was close friends with, we'll just say C. Kirk. We're just going to leave it at C. Kirk because platform is doing good so far. Let's knock on some wood. Knock on my desk. So we'll just say CK. Here lately, she's been saying that, well, I'm not going to say here lately. Since whatever happened, the thing that happened to CK, she's always said there's something more to it. Something she's always stated, right? And so there's some things that she would talk about, and people have said that, well, if you knew all of this when he was alive, why didn't you say anything then? And someone had a weird take, and they're saying that the person that this lady is getting all her information from, when she speaks about things are not adding up or things are not right or they're covering up stuff when it comes to the unaliving of CK, the person is saying that she's getting that information from a source that none of us would have ever thought. I know. I'm not saying it's true. We're going to listen to I'm not making no judgment. I can't see it. I can't see it. However, it makes for an interesting twist, though, when you really think about it. I mean, you know, who else would know him that intimate than this person, right? Ivy Island Treasure says, the wife? I know. It threw me for a loop, too. But let's just listen to the audio. And this video created for Seg 3 goes to Didi Got a Podcast. Let's listen and see how, because, yeah, let's just, I know. It's too early.
I think it's something along these lines. I think this makes sense.
Hear me out. What if Candace Owens is doing the dirty work on behalf of Erica?
Okay, hold up. So you believe that Erica Kirk is Candace Owens' secret source, and Candace Owens is actually saying all the things that Erica Kirk wants to say, but it's too dangerous for her? Negro, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Didi Got a Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Didi. I have a treat for y'all today. I did not plan on making this video, but there's a video that is really, really trending right now, and I wanted to cover it. And just when you think you've heard it all, this comes out. There's a guy by the name of Coach Colin. Coach Colin, if you see this video, I mean no disrespect, this is all in love, who is suggesting the theory that Erica Kirk is actually Candace Owens' secret source. Now, while myself and many of you would not only disagree, but we have several reasons to, say why we don't believe that this is the case. The only reason why I'm actually reacting to this and making this an entire video is because there is a video we're going to react to towards the end of this clip that actually is probably the best argument you can make in favor of it, but I'm still going to disagree, and I'm going to name all the reasons why I disagree, right? So before we jump into the video, just hit the like button on your way in if you don't mind, so this video can reach more people like yourself. And to my Patreon members, I will try my best in the next couple of days to have the Martin Luther King documentary bonus edition or editor's edition out in the next couple of days, which I promised over a month ago. I do apologize. I've been so busy making other videos, but I'll try to have that out in the next couple of days or so. Without further ado, let's get into the clip.
In the Win with Zen sweepstakes,
That's not the clip.
you can get a chance to...
That is a commercial.
Coach Colin here. What's going on, guys? I've been covering a lot, as you guys can see, a lot of parts of this whole Charlie Kirk thing. And there's one part that I have not touched on at all. And I wanted to just get into that because I do think that Candace Owens, I think that her source, these insiders that she's getting information from, I do think I know who it is. I would say the most likely person, in my opinion, based on, and then again, you got to put on your tinfoil Speedo. For those of you that are new, there's been a lot of subscribers recently. You're new. We wear tinfoil Speedos here, okay? Because the hats fall off when we go deep. And we're going deep on this episode. I think the person who she is getting this information from she's getting this green light to just go on this topic of Charlie Kirk is not just her own friendship, but I think Erica Kirk has something to do with it. I am not of the party of people who think that she is suspicious. I don't think that she needs to get looked into. I really don't give much credence to the whole Romania thing and the Trump connection. I don't look at all that and say there's something there. I think she was a guy's wife, and that guy passed away under very suspicious circumstances. Very, very suspicious. And, you know, I think she's just now doing what women do after their husbands are taken away. They try to just hold it together. And when they go home at night and they're alone, they fall apart. I think that's what's going on.
You don't believe that, brother. I refuse to believe that you think that. I am not on here. I've never been on here advocating or suggesting or alluding to the fact that Erica Kirk had something done to her husband. I've never suggested that. That's not my position. In fact, my position around the entire Charlie Kirk situation, I'm probably in the minority of what actually happened that day and what actually did not take place that day. Those of you who have been following the channel, you already know where I fall on that. But here's the problem with that. I refuse to believe you, brother. There's no way you believe that her behavior has not been suspicious. Negro what? We're not saying that the woman had to have something done to her husband, but at the very least, brother, are you kidding me? The problem with making this argument is that when you get into the details of it, you're going to have a hard time making statements like what this guy just said, right? Because, I mean, if you just overarchingly say the Romania thing or her connection to Trump or any of the other points, yeah, it's easy to say that. But when you actually delve into the details of what we talking about when we talking about the Romania thing, the music video, I've made videos on all of this. If you're new to the channel, please go and check them out. The music video, if you get into the details of what was happening in the music video, the names of these people, what was she accused, her organization allegedly accused of in Romania? When you start delving into the details, not just her connection to Trump, what is her connection to Trump? Miss USA, which involved her dressing in bikinis and she wanted super fat, all of these weird details that came out after the fact. Then it gets a bit suspicious. Not to mention, then you start looking at the videos that she's released and the speeches that she gave. You have widows, man. Multiple widows coming out saying, this is off. This is wrong. Something feels off here. You got people wanting to root for TUSA. You got people wanting to root for Erica Kirk. They're saying, listen, I'm just going to be honest. God forgive me if
Bobby
I'm
Allen
wrong.
Treasure says
Something's
always
wrong here.
girls connected.
Erica Kirk is not grieving the way that I would expect a widow to grieve. Not that there's a one way to grieve, but there should be some grieving, right? Actors and actresses and body language, experts have all come out and said, in their estimation, this person is acting. In their opinion, everything we say is alleged. Everything I said is alleged in this video. Brother, there's no way you believe what you just said.
That's what my wife would do. I think that's what she's doing. But I do think that it's very, very curious of some things that I've heard. I'll get into what I think more, but I mean, I just wanted to start here because when I saw this clip, and I didn't see it recently, I saw it when everybody else did, but it did kind of spark something in my mind here.
In the immediate hours afterwards, Erica got a call from somebody very important. We'll leave that vague out of privacy, but she got a call from somebody very important. And the question was, what do you know? Sort of asking how much of what's going on behind the scenes and with the relationship, like, what do you know? And her reply back was, everything. I know everything.
Very interesting that he said that, and he says it out loud. Here's the thing about this. This is Andrew Colvett. I think he is also somebody who is closer to Candace than he's letting on. I really do. I know a lot of people think that everyone at Turning Point is suspicious. I mainly look at the security team because just like they dropped the ball they dropped the ball too stupendously.
Well, if y'all
for
can
me
see
to just
DD's
look
face
and
right
be
now,
like,
it's so
oh, well,
funny.
Not them, because they're no. They are something else different than the people who are working. Andrew wasn't even there at the time, but for him to say,
hold up, bro. See, this is what I'm saying, and this is videos like this is what fuels the theories that people have that many of these content creators are being paid to push these. Yes, people can have different opinions, and people can have opinions that other people have not thought of before. Yes, I agree. But when you see videos, it's like, have you been watching Andrew Colvett? You believe that Andrew Colvett and Candace Owens is closer than what you think. You do know that Andrew Colvett is an avid advocate of that one foreign nation. You know, the same foreign nation that Candace Owens has been heavily critical of for like the last 2 years, that led to her getting fired from her job because Ben Shapiro is a hypocrite. You know, the same foreign nation that has caused rifts in her other professional and personal relationships that she's had with other conservatives. You mean that foreign nation? You know, he's a huge advocate of that foreign nation. Have you seen his behavior? Have you seen him and Erica Kirk's interaction when she appeared on the podcast? Did you see Andrew Kovic appear on a political stage just a few days ago, and he was absolutely embarrassed by Adam Mockler, who was like a 20-year-old progressive kid who don't believe in God? This person, you're saying, bro, I just refuse to believe that you really think these things.
This out loud is very much a statement. You have to remember, in politics, people like to make statements without making statements out loud. Jill Biden was a great example, dressed in all red when she went to go vote, after giving Kamala the cold shoulder and vice versa, after feeling like she was screwed over by their own party. And then she shows up to the polls and she's dressed in all red, signifying she's not voting blue. I think that was one of them. When Andrew did that, he did not have to mention this. He was announcing that Erica was taking over as CEO and that it's something that Charlie always wanted. He did not have to say, someone very important called, asked what you know, and then she said, I know everything. He didn't have to say that. He said that for a reason. I'm not sure what the reason was, but also you have to think of this. He says someone very important, and I'll leave that vague, and they asked, what do you know? And she said, I know everything. Who could that have been? To say they're very important, it sounds like the president. That's what it sounds like. Maybe not, maybe JD was closer, so maybe it's Vance.
I agree. It could be the president or the vice president, but I do believe that this is just my opinion. I believe you're giving Andrew Kovic way too much credit here, right? This is the same Andrew Kovic who was staying completely silent as Candace Owens has been saying all these things. And remember, he didn't come out and verify that Charlie Kirk's positions on this foreign nation were changing. At least privately, they were changing, absolutely. And they were obviously changing publicly, but they were also changing privately. He didn't share that or confirm that, even though Candace was saying it and yelling it from the rooftops until she dropped the text messages. Once she dropped the text messages, all of a sudden he came out and said, okay, the text messages came from me. If they're secretly working with Candace Owens, then he could have just did that from the jump. Why would you come out after the fact?
Yeah, he got a point there.
I'm just struggling to see this angle. Sure, it's possible. I don't see Candace Owens and Andrew Kovic being buddies. I don't
know, but someone very important. He just didn't have to mention any of this. He could have said, she's a CEO. It's fantastic. Can't wait to move forward. I think she's going to do a great job. He could have just said that, but he chose to put that message out there. I'm telling you, there's something behind that. Also, another person who did not have to put out this message, but they chose to anyway, Candace. She decided to put this message out.
No one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erica Kirk has the power to shut me up right now. That's it. No one.
There was no need for that. No one is, listen, you see her lives. There's 5 million, 3 million, 2.5 million. No one's looking for her to be quiet. I mean, there is one side, they're kind of Philadelphia associated, but I saw a comment recently. Why do you keep saying Philadelphia? Listen, you got to ask somebody in the comments. They'll let you in on it, nice and slow. We're just talking about a place in the Middle East. We call it Philadelphia. But no one's looking for Candace to be quiet. She didn't have to say that, but she made sure to put it out there. Again, when you think about that, she's saying her husband, who's not going to tell her to be quiet. I would imagine being married to her, telling her to be quiet would not serve in your best interests of keeping a peaceful home. That's just me. I just think, I don't know her, never met her. It just seems like that's not what you tell her if you're married to her. Just saying, But she says Erica can tell her to be quiet. She's putting that out there and kind of showing, hey, and this is when she first went on that long, crazy run. And she's coming back tomorrow or today, depending on when this comes out. And she's kind of putting it out there that Erica could tell me to be quiet. And guess what? I'm coming out with these episodes because she hasn't. And then you have to think about that. Why hasn't Erica ever said, be quiet? It's like all she would have to do is just write, hey, Candace, that's enough. And then Candace would be like, okay, I'm done.
Well, first and foremost, I think I can answer that, or at least give you some possibilities, or a strong possibility. First and foremost, I don't think that it's suspicious that Candace Owens named which it was 3 people, by the way, that she said could stop her from speaking about this. She said her husband, she said Erica Kirk, and Candace said her own father. Think about who those 3 people are in relation to this incident. Her husband, who was the leader of their household, or was supposed to be the leader of their household, right? So she said her husband, who could stop her. She said her father, who is probably, her first strong male figure in her life. And Erica Kirk, who is, I don't know, only the wife of the person that this allegedly happened to, right? His children are way too young to be able to even understand what's going on. So it would make sense. Now, when you say the fact that Erica Kirk has not stopped Candace, yeah, because in my opinion, the way I see that is, if Erica Kirk was to entertain or tell Candace, stop looking into this, stop trying to figure out what really happened, do you understand how suspicious that will be? Because here's the thing. One, I personally don't believe that Candace would stop if Erica told her to. I think she would consider it. I think it will baffle her. This is on a 2-dimensional level. I think it will baffle her. And I think she would renege on it. And I think she would come back out and she would continue. But even if she, valued Erica Kirk's request, here's the problem. Candace Owens would then have to come out and say, Erica Kirk asked me to stop looking into it, guys, so I'm going to stop talking about it. Let's talk about Brigitte Macron. Let's talk about what's happening in politics today. Let's talk about these digital IDs in the UK. She would move on. But the fact that she would put that out there, she would have to let people know why she stopped talking about it, right? And then the people are really going to turn on Erica Kirk.
Talk about Macron. Talk about Macron's bulge. That's what we'll talk about. She could just do that. She could talk about getting banned from Australia. She could talk about so many other things. She's good. People are willing to listen. I listened to her talk about Blake Lively for 3 hours. Why? Why'd I do that? She's good. But she's saying that for a reason. There's a sign there. She's showing you that Erica could tell me to be quiet. And here's 5 other episodes in this series as I break down every piece of evidence that I can find. Because she's not telling me to be quiet. Then, on top of that, I don't know if you guys know, but Erica followed Candace on Instagram. They weren't following each other before. Now, they're following each other. Before they weren't. Now they are. Now, in my mind, tinfoil Speedo on, of course, what happened? They just followed each other and that's it? They didn't...
Yo, what's up with this dude's fascination with tinfoil Speedos? That's weird. It's weird. To me. Could be just me. That's weird. Tinfoil Speedos. Huh.
Talk. They didn't say hello. Nothing. Just followed, and that's it. I don't know. Especially over something like this. What do you think Candace is going to do? Stay silent? She's at the very least going to say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And if you want me to stop, I'll stop. Like, you know what I mean? Candace is, she's out there. She gets wild, but she's also very orderly towards the people that she respects. And she would say something like that. I can stop if you want. How you doing? Something. They talked. And all of a sudden, and this is after. This image, this, what I'm showing you right now, this is after they followed each other. So they followed each other, and then she comes out and says this. I don't know, man. And then I saw this on Instagram. Listen to this.
Well, before we listen to this, which this is the part of the video where I say, like, this is your best argument if this is your theory. This is part of the best argument to support the theory. But I also don't find it weird that they followed each other because, which we're about to speak about in just a moment. Once again, Candace Owens hasn't been critical of Erica Kirk. She's refrained from doing that. So if you're Erica Kirk, you're noticing this, yes, that could mean that they're talking behind the scenes, sure. But that in itself, I don't think is weird. And I would also just like to say, I'd like to see proof that they followed each other recently. Because I'd like to see that. Because if you're arguing that Erica Kirk is Candace's secret source, and don't you want to keep that a secret for a reason? If you following each other on social media, you're letting whoever you're trying to hide this from, you're letting them know that y'all are closer than people think.
She grown, boy.
So why would you do it, right?
I'm trying to tell. Listen, I tell everybody.
This makes sense.
She was born dead, and look at her now. Like she's been here before. What's up? How you doing?
That they have a secret arrangement because I really struggle with the idea idea that
I'm
Erica
trying to
is
tell you,
going
the
to
Golden
address
Graham girl.
these rumors and
I'm trying
conspiracies
to
and say, yes, Candace is right on all of it. I don't think she's going to. I think
You
she might
too.
mildly agree with some of it, but right
Yeah, you
now,
want to be in
Erica
Vivian's
is surrounded
class?
by politicians, the president, the government,
We're trying to work on
CIA,
it.
FBI, donors who had
Okay.
millions and millions in their pocket that they were trying to give to Charlie so that
That
he
is
would
true.
speak a certain way.
All right, I
There's too
got
much
you.
money at stake.
How
There's
was
too
school
much
today?
life at stake. And I've even seen people throw out the idea that maybe
Did you?
Erica is going
I
to
talked
move
to
into politics. She's been so
Miss Trammell.
strong and posed during this time. She's
Miss Trammell,
winning
your teacher.
America's
Miss
hearts,
Leotold,
and
Miss
who
Trammell.
knows? Maybe this is setting
Do
her
the
up for like future VP.
do the
I don't know,
tutoring
man. Like I
with
can see
Vivi?
both sides. I can see, but let's not
What do
forget
you mean?
though.
Miss
Erica's
Trammell's the
parents
only one that does it.
were part of the government. Like they work for the. I know her dad worked for the
Vivian has
government.
more
That's
than
why they
one
moved from I think it
tutor.
was Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, to Phoenix. Her dad worked at like a part of
Yeah.
the
Well,
defense
she's wanting to teach
thing
you
for
too
the
with
government.
Vivian.
So
That's what I'm
it's not
saying.
like she's completely foreign when it comes
Go
to
there.
government
Y'all will
work
both go.
or stuff like that. I don't, I don't know.
I'm obviously just throwing out
I don't
ideas
know
and
how it's going.
conspiracies. You don't have to like jump on any of this. But Candace continues to talk really highly of
Yeah,
Erica
I
as
don't know.
if
I
they've
just know she
already
messaged me
had
today
a secret
asking for your
conversation, and
IEP
she has
stuff.
said
I told
many
mommy
times
got
she
it
will
and
stop talking
emailed it to
about
her.
any of this. She will drop operations
Huh?
if Erica or her husband ask her to.
Yeah.
Erica has had the opportunity to ask Candace to stop, and she hasn't. So what does that mean? Okay.
Exactly.
Through
Yeah, mommy
Rula, it's
already
easy.
knows. She read it yesterday.
Does that mean? What? You got to think, and just starting on what she was saying, Candace has been talking very highly of her. Now, if you feel like, of course, she's going to, but here's the thing:
Commission slip?
Candace is leaving no stone unturned. There's a whole, for sure, she has a tip line. I know I have people
No,
sending me information. She
do
probably
you
has
have the paper?
thousands of people sending information, producers and all sorts of people going
So
through that
what are
information.
we
Do you
supposed to
think they've
sign?
never
When are
gotten
we
the tip
supposed to sign
about
it?
Erica Kirk and Miss Universe and being linked to Trump
Mommy read
and
it yesterday, so
in the
she'll know.
Romania thing? And you think she hasn't heard any of that stuff? You think she doesn't know anything about that? She for sure does, and it's a rabbit hole that she's chosen not to go
You got
down.
none.
And that to
None.
me says something. Now it says, in my mind, it says that there's not much there because she actually knows Erica.
I'll be sure to link the full video.
Yeah, once you get
the original
behind, that's
video
it.
here
So
in the description, because I believe it's
once
like
you
another
get
10 minutes
behind, that's
long.
it. It's
Let
hard
me
to
first
catch
say
up.
shout out to the comment section under this girl, this woman who was just speaking under her the
You do know
on
that.
TikTok. Shout out to the people in the comment section
You
because it
do
seemed
know
like they
that.
weren't
Yeah, you
buying
need a
it.
better
And shout
blinker,
out to the
sir.
people under Coach Collins' video. I'm not saying that everybody's supposed to always agree with you. No, that's the nature of what we do. You're gonna have people to disagree. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But it seemed to be like 90% of his comments and 90% of the comments under this woman's video
Mommy, when we
of
go get
people not
mommy,
buying it because
Dad,
again, like I said at the
throw
beginning, there's
the
so many things you're gonna
trash
have to overlook.
away.
Yes, I do, for what it's worth, find it suspicious
'Cause
that
I got it
Candace
in the
Owens
car
has chosen
again.
not to talk about Erica Kirk. My reason for that is because Candace Owens, I think,
Yes.
again, on a two-dimensional level, I think that Candace Owens
I already told her. She's
understands
like,
that
yep.
if she is supposed to come out the gate and you're immediately noticing all the red flags, I don't know, like Erica Kirk grieving weird, right? Let's just put it that way. Grieving weirdly. You find now you're seeing all these posts about Erica Kirk. A couple of my videos have went
Yep.
viral.
It's in the footage.
About Erica Kirk. I'm not saying that
Eat me
Candace
some more
Owens
carrots and
seen it,
hummus dip.
but her team may have seen it.
I'm gonna eat
You
me
don't
some
think
more
that? Yeah, I
carrots
think
and
that she's
hummus
seen
dip.
it. But I think the reason why she hasn't talked about it is because
Eat
if
me
she
some
comes
more of the
immediately out the
carrots
gate
and the dip.
mentioning these things, people are going to say what they've already been saying about her since everything gets started, and that is that she's accusing Erica. Candace has really went crazy. She's accusing this man's wife
Oh,
of
mommy
being
threw away the
involved,
strawberries. They
of
were
not
old.
grieving
Gotta get some
properly.
more.
What is she alluding to? And
And
then
then you
that could
can.
potentially open up to lawsuits,
Yeah, she said the
and
other
she
ones
could
look.
lose
They
a
were
lot
going
of
bad.
support
So
if you
from
do it
now
to
on,
the
when we
right.
get
Says I think they
strawberries,
might
I
be
said like
tight.
we have
Good
to
for
a
eat
week and a
them
half ago.
pretty
I
Like
can
maybe
see
quickly
closer
that
to no, I
because they
said
go
like 2
bad
weeks
friends
ago.
fast.
with her
Okay.
Candace Owens
husband.
is eventually going to say something
She
like
So
said
this.
do
that
you want
And I was
Yeah. So
wrong
we'll pick up
that
mommy
hold
I
today.
on,
said
I'm
she was
not
going
sure
to do
how
it
to
the
pronounce
fall.
the name, but I think it's Xtavia 007. Is that part? I believe they
Oh,
teamed up for maximum effort.
But my lunchbox is like cold,
following
Daddy.
week. She hasn't done it
She
yet.
is.
But what she has
Yeah,
done is
Daddy,
she's
my
inched
pasta
her
was
way
cold.
there. And she said,
My
what?
cheesy
Y'all
pasta
aren't
was
grieving
cold. It was
properly.
like also
She
wet.
refuses to say
Yeah,
Erica's
I thought
name. But that's been the
your
number one person everybody on the internet
lunchbox
has been
supposed to keep
talking
things
about
warm. It's
when
supposed
the
to be
conversation
warm
comes up
and
about
things
not grieving
cold.
Well, the
properly.
strawberries
Candace Owens
were
has said,
cold,
y'all aren't
and
grieving
Mommy didn't
properly.
want
She
it
said that
to
herself. She said
burn
that
up my
Charlie Kirk's life was
strawberries
truly
because
the
it might
Truman
get
Show.
molded if it's
The
hot.
biggest character
Mm.
in the Truman Show that turned on him was his wife. Not to mention, when you go to Candace Owens' page, don't worry about the gag order in the Charlie Kirk case. I plan to violate it on the world's behalf. The things I've discovered this past week are enough to burn the
Partnered
house
up
down.
with a boy.
Yes, Charlie Kirk was
Yeah.
betrayed
Was he
by
nice?
everyone.
Oh,
She
you
didn't
know
say
who
everyone,
it is.
by everyone but Erica.
It's
She didn't say
Trey's
by everyone
friend.
but TPUSA.
Oh,
She
Was
didn't
he
say
nice
by
to
everyone
you?
but
he's showing
Trump.
receipts.
She didn't say
Daddy,
by
guess
everyone but
what?
his family.
Huh?
She said by everyone.
He's
Sure,
been
she don't mean every
complaining.
single person
Oh,
that he's
what?
Guess
ever
what? I've
known and
been
been
going
close to in his
faster
life.
than him.
But by default, it is safe for us to assume that
He's
she's
like,
meaning all the
girl,
important
how
characters
you
in his
doing
life.
this? I said,
I think
I've
that's
been
a
in
safe
cheerleading
assumption,
for,
right?
I think,
So
9
no,
years.
there's a lot you're gonna have to ignore when it comes to Erica Kirk. I do not
Five
believe that
years.
she's the source. She's
It's hard
Candace
to
Owens'
tell.
source because all the things that Candace Owens has been doing is only gonna hurt
Guess
Erica
what? He was being
Kirk's
so
image in the
complainative.
sense that
I
as
even
long
did a
as you
push-up with
continue
my
to
hands.
remind people
Yeah.
that what they're telling us
Did
about
you have
Charlie
fun
Kirk
in PE?
is not the truth, then we're going to always remember all the things that Candace Owens
Do you
refuses to
have
talk
some
about,
girls that are
which
your
is
friends
the
in
weird
PE?
behavior by
I
everyone,
have
including Erica
Mackenzie,
Kirk. Right?
Autumn,
Drop in the
and
comment section. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. As always, I just wanted to react to this because it seems like this video is probably going to go
Or
do
you and
close to
Ava don't really
500,000
get along,
if it
so.
continues at this
No,
pace.
not
So I wanted
Ava.
to hop on it
Oh.
early and just
Talking
give my
about
thoughts
being
and just say
partnered with
I
a
disagree.
boy.
Yeah, I think it's weird that she
I
hasn't
did
talked
not
about
have a good time
Erica,
with him.
but I don't think it's because Erica is the source. All right, but y'all in the comment section and give me your thoughts.
Yeah,
Man.
being partnered up with a
All right,
boy
let's give it up to Didi
doesn't
Got a
seem right to me.
Podcast.
Well, was
That's
other girls
interesting.
partnered up
Thank
with
you for the
boys?
heart me. I appreciate that, Coach.
I think so, but there was like
Xtavia.
only like 5
I think I'm saying
girls
that right.
today.
Thank you.
I'm about to say, seems like y'all
Yeah,
don't have enough
absolutely. Good
girls
content.
anyway.
Good content.
You can say that again.
Like I said, I can see both.
Vivi's
I could
class got
actually
all
see
boys.
both
You got
Well,
boys.
sides to
if I
that.
was in Vivi's class, that probably
See where
would be
Didi's
more
coming
than
from.
that would probably be
But I can
more
also
girls
see
than
where the
boys if I
tinfoil
was in
speedos is
Vivi's.
coming from.
Is,
Speedos
is your
guys
class
coming
close
from.
to her
Speedo,
class?
whatever he's
Yes.
talking. It's crazy. Anyways. But yeah, I could see how he could link that
She's
together. Because I
like into
mean,
kindergarten.
who else would know
Daddy,
intricate
when
things
I
about
took her
CK
I was like,
than his
Richard, what
wife?
grade are you in? Like,
Right?
what
Caribbean Queen,
hallway
thank
are
you
you
for the
in?
cake
She showed
slice.
me
I
to the
appreciate that. Thank you, love.
kindergarten hallway. I was like, girl, why
So
are you
I'm
in
not so quick
kindergarten?
to discredit
But then
what
I
Coach
know
Colin
that
was
she
saying.
probably needs more help, and
In
kindergartens are
fact, if
like
you
what
actually stop and
problem
think,
she needs.
it really do make
I
sense.
don't know. All I know is that I just
And
keep
then too,
telling
you
her
got to
teacher I
think.
want to
I
be in
come from the
Vivi's
world of
class.
pro wrestling.
It
It's our
sounds like
job
Vivi's
to create
teacher
an
wants you in
illusion.
her class too.
It's
Yeah,
our
but
job to
Vivi's
hold
teacher,
your emotions in our
how is
hands as we
Vivi's
tell the
teacher
story in
supposed
the
to
ring,
get me in her class?
I'm just saying, she
right?
said she would
And
like to
so
have you in her class.
I get it.
Yeah, I bet Vivi would. Just imagine
Well,
on
you
Vivi.
already know Vivi
Coach
would.
says, Coach Xtavia says, I'm in politics.
Class
It's
him on
way
her
deeper than
birthday.
people
That would
think.
be
And
more
I
special.
agree with her. If you've rocked with us since day one, you know we are adamantly trying to get you all to understand. It goes deeper than what you see on TV. It goes deeper than what they put on the internet. You got to know. It's so far. The depths are so deep than just the surface, right? And so when you think about it, yeah, she very well could be given Candace, and let's give Candace some time here because she's definitely advocating for everything. But she could be giving Candace some information to put out there, and then she's off to the side playing her part as if they're not working together and things of that way. It's the illusion. And let's be honest, there's a lot of things that we know that she can't say. I'm talking about Erica. She can't say. Because if she did, then not only only would her life be in jeopardy, but her kids' life would be in jeopardy as well. So and I'm sorry, I'm still going to say it. The whole hug that the cheddar color coat leader gave her. First of all, nope. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to leave it at the fact of Coach Colin makes a good point. I can see where Didi's coming from too, but Coach Colin makes a good point. And whoever the lady was that Coach Colin was referencing her video, I think she makes a good point too. She makes a good point too. All right, y'all, you ready? You ready? Caribbean Queen said it's kind of creepy. Yes, it's very creepy. It's very creepy. How much power people have, how people can manipulate the minds of the masses and have them do things that, you would think people of sound mind wouldn't do. It is weird. It's really creepy. It really is. But before we go into segment 4, let me say, whether you join in via TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, or Facebook, thank you for supporting and watching. Hashtag I'm gonna say it. I appreciate it and thank you so much. Please, whatever platform you're on, please give the broadcast a like. I appreciate you so much. On behalf of my moderators and myself, we really, really, really appreciate it. Right? And so, thanks. Caribbean Queen said, "Hey, you slacking." Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't even know I needed to. Let's reset the live goal here on TikTok. Let's see. Let's go.
Daddy, make sure those carrots aren't expired.
November 5th.
What do we feel like that? You know what? Let's go. Let's go with this. Let's go with the golden boxing gloves. Right?
I have to watch
Golden boxing gloves. We've been knocking it out, so that's what we'll have it. We'll have it there. Thank you. Thank you for that. So we're gonna go into segment 4 now. We're gonna put your 4s up. We're going into segment 4. This is the final segment of today's show. You all have been great. It's been fun. Y'all been rocking with me. I appreciate it. Caribbean Queen, thank you for them golden boxing gloves. We beating it up on here, man. We throwing these blows out there. We punching. We getting it up. We getting it done. I appreciate that. We're gonna go to segment 4, and it's almost like we can't go a day without something surrounding this guy here, but it's something that we pretty much already figured would happen, and that look is appropriate. It's really appropriate. It's really appropriate. Coach Xavier, thank you for the golden boxing gloves. I appreciate you. So this is from our dude Murad Morali, and he's reporting. And I saw some other people reporting on it as well. But and so it says Diddy nearly unalived in shock new coordinated attack in prison. He is finished. Now we've been saying it's going to be dangerous, and no matter where he goes. Dolly Marker says, "Oh, please tell me they're going to put him away." Can I say that? Hey, it's free to say that. It's free to say. You're clear to say that on here. We've been saying since word on the curb came out, that at different prisons, inmates have been wanting him to come to wherever they're housed at, and that there has been bets actually made on who was going to take his back door first when he gets to the respective prison that they're in. So even just knowing that already lets us know that there's a healthy danger that he's going to walk into regardless of what prison he goes into. Anytime you go into a prison and there's already a bunch of men that want to do backdoor things to you, you are in danger. Yes. Now we did say some of our panel guests have said, hey, he's got money, he's good, he'll be straight, he'll be protected with the money. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I agree. I thought that too. No lies. But now you got people trying to unalive him, which, in all honesty and fairness, you had to know that would come at some point in time. I mean, look at all of the things that he's allegedly done. And again, we say allegedly because we want to protect the integrity of our broadcasting platform, right? So, hey, You know, my sister said that he deserves those threats. He's done it to women for years. And that's what, hey, sis, you know, Alonzo the Great, welcome in, says he has to pay for the protection. Yeah. And you're right. You know, that's one of the things. It's how I go down. It's a lot of honey buns. I mean, honey buns, the snack. I'm talking about that you eat. You know, not his honey buns that they're trying to get. There's a lot of honey buns you're going to have to pay out. It's a lot of trays you're going to have to give out. There's a lot of commissary money you're going to have to fork out in order for protection. And I don't know if maybe he didn't have the correct amount of money this particular time, or I don't know. And you know, this, maybe it's a play on, I was going to say maybe it's just a play on him trying to say his life is in danger. He's trying to gain sympathy and get out. But I've seen credible content creators reporting on this. So that lets me know somebody was trying to go on and get him up out of here. Another thing we said too, or have mentioned in previous broadcasts, is we've said we wondered if he was going to face Jeffrey Ease. You know what happened to him. And again, be it by himself, we said this, people, either by himself, self-unaliving, or be it by another inmate or inmates that unaliving. We said this. Caribbean Queen said, I was thinking that too. See, I'm just saying, we being honest here. A lot of people don't like that, Caribbean Queen. They don't like that we are out front and we speak these kind of things. But this is called hashtag, I'm going to say it. Shirts available too. But I'm just saying, it's a healthy thing that could happen. Jenny says, I believe TMZ and his PR team were trying to get an early release. Tisa said it too. Exactly. They was trying to get him out. And I don't know if that's because there's more things coming out, and so he's trying to get out and stuff like that. But hey, Dolly Marcus says, I think that's too good for him. I heard that. Caribbean Queen said, yeah. Big Block says he not facing that much time. He's not facing that much time. You are correct, Big Block. And guess what, Big Blocks? It don't take that much time to get unalive, you know. But he's not facing that much time. Not right now. He's not. You're right, brother. Or sister, I'm not, because you don't have a picture, so I don't know. Forgive me, but you're right. He's not facing much time as it stands right now. But let's go ahead and get into the audio. Let's see what's going on.
Diddy was seconds away from him being unalived by somebody in prison. Excuse me? Where's this story coming from? What do you mean unalived? What do you mean he was threatened? Somebody had a weapon close enough to him to end his life. Another prison inmate. Where has the story come from? Excuse me? Hey guys, it's Murad Muradi. Hope you guys are all doing well today. Daily and consistent content. Let's get straight into this video. Diddy, guys, faced a knife-wielding attack. Before we even get into what the hell this is, let's get into what the hell is going on here. This is a Donkey Kong, apparently, outfit that I was given via Nintendo when I went to a Nintendo event that I was invited to yesterday. I don't know how this is a gorilla, because I don't know what the hell this is giving me. Like, I just don't understand what this is. But you know what? It ain't Halloween. For somebody who said this was Halloween, I'm not dressing up for Halloween. And no, guys, I'm not dressing up for Diddy. Okay? So we're not going to run those jokes, do you understand? And, it ain't no bear. Okay? This is meant to be Donkey Kong the gorilla. I don't know what the hell is going on here. I have no understanding. I just don't get it. But we're going to get into this video, guys. Even though this is the serious conversation, guys, we need to have a serious conversation about what the hell this is about.
Right, pause. Hey, one of my moderators, can you find out if, because 9 hours ago it says Grizzline, that's what we'll call it, Grizzline Maxwell attacked in her prison cell. Find out if that's true or not, please.
I'm not dressing up for Diddy. Why did I say that now? Lord have mercy. Friend Charlucci Finney claims
Brooklyn,
an inmate,
in.
guys.
The Ticket to Work program.
Appreciate that, Natty. Thank you. Let me know when you find out something.
weapon, a knife-wielding attack that was close enough to Diddy's throat. I don't know what else was close to that man's throat, because he's living his best life in this prison. He woke up with a knife to his throat, Symphony, revealing previously...
Randy said maybe they wanted to use baby oil on it, and he refused. Okay, Natty, thank you. No credible evidence. All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Reported details of the chilling close call inside the MDC. I don't know whether he fought him off or the guards came. I just know that it happened. If this guy had wanted to harm him, Sean would have been harmed. It would only take a second to cut his throat with a weapon and kill him. It was probably a way to say, next time we ain't going to be so lucky. Everything is intimidation. But with Sean, it won't work. Sean is from Harlem. Okay, wow. Sean's from Harlem, guys. Avengers... Take a step back. X-Men, there's no point. Power Rangers, sit this one out. Teletubbies and the Powerpuff Girls, there's no point because Sean is from Harlem. And because Sean is from Harlem, it won't work on him. Diddy's lawyers, guys, have raised the threats on violence multiple times. And now it looks like even Brian Steele told the court that in one instance, an MDC inmate wielded a makeshift razor at him. The culprit was trying to earn prestige by harming Diddy. Diddy's lawyers want him to serve the remainder of his 50-month sentence at Fort Dix, which is a much safer, cushier prison. They're writing to Judge Arun, urging him to recommend the low security facility. This is why I find this conversation to be interesting, right? Because I spoke about it in my last video that on the 8th of October, they submitted an application to move to the Fort Dix. We're now on the 22nd. Judge Arun basically has not accepted that and said that this man should be moved closer to the New York metropolitan area to stay around that area. So Diddy's lawyers and Diddy are not getting what they want. They want to be moved from the MDC, and Judge Arun has not permitted that. Therefore, I find this story to be convenient that it's come out via somebody through Diddy's team, Diddy's PR, Diddy's camp, Diddy's friends, and of course with the knowledge of the lawyers to publicly put out there with PR and press release that Diddy wants to move because of security threats, and therefore this should push it to move there because that's what they want. And also B, Diddy's been embarrassed with this whole pardoning, clemency, TMZ exclusive reports that is happening this week. And then Deadline and Daily Mail basically came out with NBC to whack Diddy and say that this is not going to happen. And White House officials said that it's complete nonsense. So that's basically embarrassed Diddy. So they also want to incite sympathy for that. This is why I find this story to be convenient, because Diddy has been in this job for over a year. And now suddenly there is this wielding attack that has taken place on this man. I don't know. This story could have happened, or it could have been orchestrated to incite sympathy because none of us were there, so therefore we can't prove it or disprove it. So that's why I'm a bit odd when it comes to this conversation of Diddy and this knife wielding attack, where basically he nearly was unalived in this position. But also on the other side, maybe now this is going to be quite frequent for this man, and prison inmates are going to do so because they now know that he's been sentenced, and therefore they know that he's going to be in prison for a while, so therefore they're going to try stuff, because apparently Brian Steele did say this already happened once, so maybe it's the same guy. Maybe this attack did happen, and maybe, it's happened right now. I try to look at conversations when it comes to both sides. When it comes to something like this, not really both sides when it comes to the P. Diddy. I hate that man. I feel like he's an absolute abusive, disgusting waste man, point blank, period. But when it comes to, if something happened or not, let's look at it on both sides because, it possibly could be true. Maybe this is true. Maybe it was something that went on. We don't know. They continue on to talk about how he's suffering sleepless nights, worrying that his famous pal, a father of 7, will be targeted. Sean has kept a lot of this stuff to himself because he doesn't want to worry his family. But if you're in jail and you've been charged with anything sexual, it's not a good place to be. The prisoners take it personal. They look at it like it could have been my mom, my auntie, my daughter. They try to get what they call prison justice. And you have to understand, we are not talking about a regular person. We're talking about Diddy. Oh, Lord. So it looks like Diddy's life is in big danger. So now the judge is probably going to read this. Arun's going to read this and be like, you know what? Let's move him to the Fort Dix because this man is in danger. That's what Diddy's lawyers and, Diddy's team want. But this, apparently, if this has happened, is the second attack now, which means that Diddy is becoming a victim. Diddy's basically becoming a target. And maybe they're doing so because of the sentencing that it's given. Because his friend just said, because he's been charged with something sexually and therefore, they might, other prisoners take it personal because of my mum, my auntie, my daughter. Well, why didn't these prisoners take it personal when this man was brought into prison on September 2024? Because he's been in prison for over a year now. So why hasn't multiple prisoners taken this personal? Why are there reports coming out that he actually is befriending these inmates? He's leading the classes. He's being an influence to them. He sleeps with all of these people in this room, and yet somehow nothing's happened to him until now. This is why this story is confusing me, and it doesn't make sense. I feel like with the bad week that Diddy has had, and mind you, it's only Wednesday. The bad week that Diddy has had with this, clemency, pardoning Trump, embarrassing story via TMZ, and all of it was crushed. I do think that because of that, and because Diddy's motive and his lawyer's motive are to get him to Fort Dix, this story is convenient because it pushes those narratives. It incites sympathy for him, and it shows the world that, Diddy's in trouble. Let's try to get him to a safer place. That's just the way I'm seeing it on, this conversation, because Diddy is somebody who has an ego, is naive, power trips continuously, and is very manipulative. You need to look at the people that he's worked with, and, that can easily tell you. That is what I'm looking at it when it comes to this. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying, well, maybe
I said, wait, didn't Diddy say he got all the guys to come together during his stay? That's exactly what he said. He for sure said that. If it's a lie, he told it, which wouldn't necessarily be out of the realm of possibility. That's what he does. But yes, you are right, sis.
I mean, to be fair, maybe it's not true, and that is why. But if it is true, that also is plausible and easy to believe, because Brian Steele did mention that this already happened once whilst he was in prison. But again, Brian Steele releasing that information conveniently through sentencing is interesting. But then they're going to use anything that happens bad to Diddy to incite sympathy anyway. So are we really mad about it? I don't really know. So I'm trying to look at it from different directions, this conversation, because it really is just confusing the hell out of me, to be honest with you. But, this has come out. Diddy basically nearly had his life taken, and the person basically was up to Diddy's throat, and it was close to the throat, and then basically backed off suddenly to imply that you're not going to be lucky next time. So this basically means that Diddy might not even be here next week, y'all, because they were talking about Diddy's coming out this week. Diddy might not even be here this week with the way life's going for him at the MDC. It ain't just a maggot-infested food. It's not just him holding on to the bars, holding on for dear life. It's not just him dropping the bar of soap. It's not about him getting new knee pads. It's not about him giving the Glock 6000 or sleeping, in rooms with 20 people, barely having any sleep and struggling. It's also about people putting things close to his throat. All this man wants to do is go to Miami so he can go to the gay sauna. That's all this man wants to do with 2C.
I'm out. This man said all he want to do is get out, go to Miami, and go to the GAY saunas. Yes, it's Glock 5000. I am so weak. They be taking him out. He said he said he doing more than he's doing more than just need new knee pads, grabbing the railings and holding on for dear life, bending over. Man, listen, boy, when I tell you, Murad be taking him out. It's almost like how what was that person? The girl was listening to yesterday, Kaya. How she was taking out Fat Joe? Man, listen.
His little pink cocaine stuff with help from Young Miami, allegedly. That's all this man wants to do. But apparently this has taken place. And when I read this a couple of hours ago when this story dropped, I wanted to take a minute before I got into this, because I was like, let's dissect this and look at it from different perspectives, because whilst this could be true, I also do feel like there is convenience when it comes to this conversation and this story.
Hey there. Welcome to
a commercial. Hold up. Hopefully our last commercial of the show.
Your thoughts on this, guys? Do you believe this? Do you think this is true? Do you think Diddy's now becoming a victim? Do you think that also now, you know what, maybe this just is MDC prison life? It is one of the worst prisons, guys, and Diddy is a huge, of course, celebrity, and of course he's been charged with a lot of stuff. The people in the prison must have also seen that video of him beating up Cassie, so therefore now he's probably got hitters on his back. Maybe this is true. Maybe he is getting whacked, not just by the press and TMZ, but this man's getting whacked by other prison mates inmates as well. Maybe they want to try to do this as a game to higher prestige. But my question is, why would they wait now? Because this man has been in prison for over a year. This is what I don't understand. That's the only part I don't get it. Surely these attacks would have been frequent. Surely these prisoners would have been,
Carmela, thank you for that heart me. I appreciate it. Welcome to hashtag
because
I'm going to say
the Beirut of prisons, the BOP came out and it was court documented by the prosecution side before the trial even took place. And the prosecution stated that this man was basically violating BOP rules by befriending multiple prison inmates, and they basically were helping Diddy to use phones to contact people. Then there was another report coming out, not from a credible, strong source, that apparently these prisoners were making his bed. So can somebody make it right? Because a lot of these stories are conflicting. Because they wanted to this man to be speaking in Miami, talking about speaking engagements because he's influenced so many people at the NBC. He's teaching so many people at the NBC. No one's ever done that. He's broken barriers. He's an influence to people. He's inspiring. They were calling him a civil rights fucking leader, for goodness sake, at the damn sentencing because this man was doing so great. Nicole Westmoreland was crying because this man has inspired so many people and he wants to take these classes outside and entrepreneurship and etc. They were dropping damn notes talking about excellent class, keep up the good work. Diddy's this new teacher. That's what they were saying. So now suddenly it's gone from that back to somebody's pointing something to this man's throat. It's not adding up to me. Everything's a bit too conflicting and I don't understand why. Anyways, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. I want to come to this. Please click that button. Send a tip if you guys wish to. It's a $sign there. It goes a long way. Comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It's just one click. That's all you guys have to do. Join Murad Nation. Become a Marauders. I'm speaking so fast in the latter part of this video. I do apologize, but you know, I speak fast. It is what it is. I do apologize. Yeah, I don't know. This was not meant to be on the rota of videos today, but here we are discussing this. I don't know. I'm just confused, man. A lot's going on with Diddy, and this trial's ended. Why is so much shit happening with Diddy? The trial's done, for goodness sake. I don't get it. We should have moved on from this. But there's new conversations happening about this man every single minute. It's a lot. It's crazy. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Please comment down below. I really want to know your thoughts on this conversation, and I'll catch you guys soon for another video.
If you've been waiting to apply for this,
I'm with him on that, man. It's like every day is something. It's like Diddy is that child that just don't get it, you know. But let's give it up to Murad Morale. Another great content. I'm with him on that. I really am. I see where he's coming from. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have came to an end of the broadcast on hashtag I'm gonna say it. Thank you all for joining me. It's been great. Shout out to the platform, man. No, we ain't get shut down, sis. Shout out to the platform, man. Shout out to them for working with us today. Listen, if you enjoyed the content and it's your first time here, please become a subscriber. That way you have a badge next to your name that says crew. That allows my moderators and myself to know that you are part of our news crew member team. You get to use special stickers within the live here. And also, Deb, how you doing, girl? I didn't even see you. Beautiful. How you doing? Also, you'll be notified when we go live and things of that nature as well. Again, if you like the content you like to support, go and look in the link. Our Cash App is in there. We appreciate it. If you could tell a friend about the show, tell them, and they can join us next time as well. And again, like I said, whether you're joining on TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, or Facebook, I appreciate you so much. Caribbean Queen, thank you for the golden boxing gloves. I appreciate that, bestie. I appreciate it. Tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Go and subscribe to Global Impact Wrestling TV. That's right. Your host will morph into a video game character. I go back into being a pro wrestler, and tonight I have to defend my GIW, that's Global Impact Wrestling Intercontinental Championship, and we will be illuminating live from right here in hot Atlanta, my hometown. Come join us, man. I can't lose the championship in my hometown, in my city, in hot Atlanta. No, we can't do that. But I need you to come in and join it. I need you to come in, go and follow Global Impact Wrestling TV. Join in on the chat. Let them know you there to represent Mr. Breaking News G Smooth as I defend my Intercontinental Championship. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. Let's go. It's Thunderstruck tonight, 6 p.m. only on YouTube. Check it out, right? Also,
my bad. Can you send me that message me there? Because I ain't going to remember all that. I'm driving.
All right, I got you, brother. No problem. I'll send that to you. I appreciate you joining me today, too. Also, if you did not watch episode 10 of Dope Girls, go on YouTube. Subscribe to Tay Redder Vision Films. I got you, brother. Never. I'm going to send that to you, too. Go and subscribe to Tay Redder Vision Films and check out Dope Girls, episode 1 through 10. That's right. Your host is Stacks on there, and I'm about that money. I need stacks of money. But, man, it's a turf war going on, right? My sister, she done came down here to the A from Kansas, and she was gonna give us the product. Dirty done messed her up. She done got unalive. Man, it's just crazy. I don't even know what's going on. Check it out, man. Go on YouTube. Check out the hottest web series right now, Dope Girls. Make sure you go and watch episode 1 through 10. This has been your self-proclaimed favorite news reporter, Mr. Breaking News, signing off from the newsroom. Peace and blessings to you all, and I love you to life.